5 News at Noon starts now.
Right now at noon, a new partnership could fast-track UA Fort Smith students' path to medical careers. Plus, the president signing an executive order cracking down on online pharmacies and challenging FDA guidelines. Thanks for joining us for your 5 News at Noon. I'm Darren Bob. Danny here to tell us we are going to get really warm.
Yes, that return of summer is here and here to stay for quite a while, Darren. Also, do you know what time it is? Are you sure you're here at the right show? But
I think I'm a little early.
I was going to say, I think you're on Hawaii time here, or I should say Eastern time here. But yeah, we're glad to have you here. And yeah, it's going to get a lot hotter out here starting today, especially later this week. We'll show you what's going on right now outside your window. We'll head over to Rogers along I-49 near the amphitheater there, 80 degrees. And you see that feels like it's 81. You're like, well, Danny, that's not much of a difference. You're correct. But when you just have a little bit of that heat index, you kind of see, okay, that hint of summer is returning. And with dew points closer to 60, that humidity is on the rise for us starting today, but especially as we head into later this week. Not much in terms of cloud cover out there. You can see maybe a few kind of wispy clouds here and there, but more is going to be building in from the west here in Oklahoma. So we'll see that cloud cover build in a little bit later this afternoon. Current temperatures across the region pretty steady in the upper 70s and low 80s. Not much different between northwest Arkansas and the River Valley, but you notice it's a lot warmer than this time yesterday. We're seeing anywhere from about 4 to 7 degrees warmer. So with that jump in temperatures, we're continuing to see that on the rise later this afternoon in the mid 80s for northwest Arkansas, and that cooling off as much overnight with temperatures in the mid 60s. So again, that higher humidity leading to warmer overnight lows, and then for the River Valley into the lower 90s for highs, and those temperatures not cooling as much off, as we head to the overnight hours. So talk more about this summer heat and if we'll see any rain relief on the way coming up in your full forecast. Darren.
Danny, thanks. Appreciate that. Sebastian County Sheriff's investigators looking for at least 2 suspects in connection with a rash of thefts from Ben Guerin Park in Fort Smith. All the thefts were from vehicles parked in different locations in the park throughout Monday evening. Among the items taken from the vehicles, purses, wallets, credit cards. If you have any information about this, please call the Sheriff's Office or Crime Stoppers at 78-CRIME. Arkansas Attorney General Tim Griffin announcing a person convicted of Medicaid fraud and an additional person arrested on similar charges. Little Rock pled guilty to the charge. She was given a 6-month suspended sentence. Griffin says 24-year-old Zariah Blake of Pine Bluff, also arrested last Thursday, said Blake falsely billed for services to a patient admitted to a local hospital. Meanwhile, in a separate ongoing Medicaid fraud case, former head of the Arkansas State Medical Board, Brian Hyatt, set to appear in court yesterday, but the hearing was waived. State is now seeking a fitness to proceed exam with a new hearing set for December. You can read more about this on our website at 5newsonline.com. This week marks 1 month since many of our schools returned back to the classroom, and this school year, all Arkansas and Oklahoma school districts have implemented that bell-to-bell no-cell law and made major individual changes as well, from new metal detection equipment to new software that confirms identities and that new bell-to-bell cell law. Fayetteville Deputy Superintendent Julie Williams says so far with all the new policies, the year has gotten off to a smooth start. They're seeing big changes already in students.
Many people in the public can relate that when you have a family get together and they're anybody from, 12 to 27, they're sitting there on their phone during a family gathering. And what's interesting with the bell-to-bell no cell, we have none of that going on at school. And so people are actually engaging face-to-face with real human conversations.
A few weeks ago, of course, you'll remember we had that false alarm shooting at the U of A. Now the high school went into its secure place protocol, which they've done before, but Williams says with all of its new policies combined, they have had new peace of mind inside that building. An agreement between the UA Fort Smith and the Medical College in Chaffee Crossing could give students a leg up in their graduate school journey. 5 News reporter Jacob Luthi has more now on what it could mean for future medical professionals.
The affiliation agreement between the University of Arkansas Fort Smith and the Arkansas Colleges of Health Education guarantees qualified UAFS students an admissions interview for graduate programs at AIC. Now, under this new agreement, qualified UAFS students will skip the initial screening process and go straight to an admissions interview with AIC. To be eligible, students must complete all prerequisite coursework and meet GPA and test score requirements for the chosen program, and admission is not guaranteed. UAFS's Provost and Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs, Shadow Robinson, says this agreement furthers the university's mission of serving the local community while increasing the upward mobility of its students.
Our student population, over 50% of them come from Sebastian and Crawford County. So we know that they care about this place, they care about their families, they care about their home community, and so the opportunity to then educate them as healthcare professionals and keep them here to serve that need, that's a win for everyone in the community, for our university, and for AIC.
The agreement opens a direct path for UFAS students seeking admission to AIC's College of Osteopathic Medicine, School of Physical Therapy, School of Occupational Therapy, and Master of Science in Biomedicine program. AIC Assistant Provost Dr. Christopher Smith says they currently have 29 University of Arkansas Fort Smith alum enrolled across those programs and wants to see those numbers grow. Smith says the admissions process remains highly selective and credits UFAS's work in preparing students for further education.
A hat off to UFAS for the great work they're doing, and then for the standards that we have. And so it's just great to see the spirit of collaboration continue, because we know it's going to transform this area and shape the future of healthcare in the River Valley and beyond.
Now, the agreement is for 3 years, but Robinson says that if the partnership remains successful and healthy, we can see it last for generations to come. Jacob Luthi, 5 News.
All right, Jacob, thanks. President Trump signing an executive action cracking down on online pharmacies that don't list potential side effects of medications, defying FDA's regulation. This comes hours after the administration released a new report they say is focused on improving the health of children. Jared Hill tells us the president also weighed in on the latest release of Epstein documents.
In a new focus on American children,
Your mission is to make America healthy again.
Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. unveiled the administration's strategy to improve health outcomes.
We are focusing narrowly on nutrition and metabolic health, food quality, cumulative exposures, gut microbiome, precision agriculture, and mental health.
Some elements of the Make Our Children Healthy Again report target ultra-processed food, microplastics, exposure to chemicals, and increasing physical activity.
These are bipartisan reforms. Many of them would be unthinkable 2 years ago.
But the report also calls for more rigorous government investigations into ideas some medical experts have labeled conspiracy theories, from the harms of fluoride to vaccine injuries. Secretary Kennedy himself, a vaccine skeptic. Meanwhile, the White House worked to distance President Trump from the latest release of Epstein files, including the 50th birthday message Trump allegedly wrote to Epstein in 2003.
It's not my signature, and it's not the way I speak. And anybody that's covered me for a long time knows that's not my language.
The White House press secretary said the president is open to having a handwriting analyst look at the letter and accused Democrats of pushing the story for political gain.
The Democrats view this story as nothing more than an attempt to distract from the accomplishments and the achievements of this administration.
It was the Republican-led House Oversight Committee that subpoenaed the documents from the estate of the late convicted sex offender. Jared Hill, CBS News.
The Supreme Court also says it will decide whether the president has the power to impose sweeping global tariffs. Arguments are set to start in early November. 2 lower courts ruled most of the tariffs are illegally imposed. Well, Israel is facing backlash over it after its controversial missile strike on Doha with Qatari. Officials are to hold Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu responsible for breaking international law with Tuesday's attack. Airstrikes hit Doha's embassy district, disrupting talks between Hamas and leaders and Qatari leaders over President Trump's Gaza peace proposal. The Israeli strikes being dubbed the Summit of Fire, with leaders calling it state terrorism. Qatar says the U.S. only alerted them 10 minutes after the attack, despite being a key U.S. ally. Poland says it shot down Russian drones that entered its airspace, headed for Ukraine. The incident marks the first time NATO aircraft engage potential threats in Allied airspace. Natalie Brand says the president will speak with Poland's president today.
Polish and NATO fighter jets rushed to respond after the country's prime minister said a number of Russian drones violated Poland's airspace. No casualties have been reported, but the government is assessing the damage on the ground. The prime minister says they're likely dealing with a large-scale provocation and prompted Poland's government to invoke Article 4 of the NATO treaty to start emergency talks.
Whether it was intentionally or not, it is absolutely reckless.
NATO's Secretary General Mark Rutte delivered a strong warning to Russia to stop its war on Ukraine and aggression in the region.
Allies are resolved to defend every inch of Allied territory.
The incident comes just a week after President Trump hosted Poland's president here at the White House and suggested the U.S. could increase its troop presence in the country.
We're with Poland all the way, and we will help Poland protect itself.
President Trump Wednesday morning on social media posted, "What's with Russia violating Poland's airspace with drones? Here we go." The U.S. ambassador to NATO said, "We stand by our NATO allies in the face of these airspace violations and will defend every inch of NATO territory." Russia says it did not target Poland. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.